And my job is to make accounting interesting and exciting and create passion, so you all want to become accountants and you all want to become CPA. First of all, accounting. What did I do at Deloitte, for example? My job was to go and audit their financial statements. So these are Boeing Corporation, they build airplanes, and these are their financial statements. And my job as an accountant, as an auditor, as a CPA, was to go out there and obtain enough good evidence so at the end of the audit we could give an opinion on their numbers. So at the end we could say, in my opinion, cash is presented fairly. Accounts receivable presented fairly. Inventory, notes payable, bonds payable, common stock, preferred stock, that all these numbers are good. They're present, not that they're perfect, but that they're okay based on the amount of work that we did. So that is what your goal is. That is what you're trying to do. Why become a US CPA? First of all, a more globalized standard. The US certificate is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. You can now take the US CPA exam here in Japan. You can take it in the Middle East. You can take it in South America. You can take it in the United States. So it's growing as far as popularity. Eventually, maybe the whole world will be a US CPA. So that's kind of where they're going as far as the growth. Modern technology makes international business common. So what they do is we have auditing standards, we have international standards for auditing, for tax, for all these areas, because the world is getting smaller and smaller. Right? With the internet, all of a sudden the world is smaller. So what that means is becoming more global is important in accounting as well. So assuming that you're interested, for example, in accounting, and you say, well, what are some of the career priorities? What do I want? You have salary. Generally with accounting, you make good money. There's benefits. Security. Security means you have a skill. You can get a job. So when the economy goes, and it comes back up, recession, recovery, expansion, and so on. As the economy gets better or worse, you can still have a job. Advancement, and most importantly, is job satisfaction, which means you enjoy what you like to do. In looking at your options, what are the different choices? The different choices are what we call public, private, and governmental. Public, private, those are different ways of doing accounting, different ways of doing auditing, different ways of being a CPA. When we talk about the differences, big picture, public is what I did at Tomas or Deloitte. That's where I would go, and I don't work for Boeing, I'm outside Boeing. I go in and I look at their numbers. That's called public. You're an external, independent auditor. With government, that would be like working for the government, like the people that collect taxes, the people that collect VAT, value-added tax, the people that would be government. And then private would mean you work for Boeing, inside Boeing. So maybe I'm a controller, internal audit, bookkeeper, accounting clerk, doing bookkeeping, journal entries inside of Boeing. So part of looking at my options, public, private, governmental, what that means is what kind of lifestyle do I want? If I work for government, I make less money, but I have more free time. If I work in public accounting, I make more money, but I work, no life. If I work in private, once you work up, you have maybe more of a balanced life, but it depends on you, and again, what passion you have, what interests you, what you want to do with your life. Now, what do I need to become a CPA? First of all, there's 4 parts of the exam, and the 4 parts are auditing, financial accounting, regulation, and BEC. The exam is 14 hours in length. That's a lot of time. But you don't have to take it all at once. You can take one part at a time. So you can take one part after the other. So realize that you don't have to be a genius to be a CPA. You need a little bit of a lot of information. but it's a tested discipline. If you study, you will pass. But you need to put the hours in and you need to be motivated to study for the exam. When is the exam given? The exam is given basically 8 months a year. And I believe in Japan, it's what, 4 months a year? 4 months a year. So it's given 8 months a year in the United States, here, here, here. But in Japan, it's given the second month of each window, which would be February, May, August, and November. So you could take the exam here, 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 and here. These are blackout months when there's no exam, and that's when they're basically fixing the exam to make sure all the questions still apply. So you're saying, Raj, how many hours to become an accountant? How much studying do I have to do? Generally, it's about 300 to 400 hours of study time. So 300 to 400 hours, that's a lot of time. But it's definitely doable. It's just something that you have to sit down and plan. The national average pass rate is about 47%. Now there's an exam called the Japanese CPA, JCPA. That has a pass rate of about 6%. What is my pass rate for my course? About 86%. Which means if you do what I tell you to do, and you stay interested, you will learn, you will study, you will pass the exam. How do I get students to pass? First of all, my lectures are exciting and entertaining. I have different ways to study. I teach you and write my own books to focus you on what you need. And finally, we have ongoing homework support. We have study schedules, study calendars, study guides. So these are different ways to kind of help you stay focused. Mayumi also is a representative where if you ever have questions about the exam, you can ask her about it, and she'll give you any and all that information so you understand everything you need to know about being a CPA. That is about the US CPA exam. That is what will give you the information you need in order to successfully prepare and become a US CPA. Thank you very much.